All right, we are live.
Hello, welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast. What is episode 441? I was about to say after hours.
Yeah,
That's
say
why.
ass.
Yeah, I know.
Ass episode.
It's the late start. That's my fault, guys. My son has baseball, so sorry, Andrew. I know you're drunk in the airport, but we had to get things settled in
son
here
has
first.
baseball.
Yeah. So sorry about that, but yes, we are doing this at 8:30, maybe for a little few weeks or something, if that's okay with everybody else. But anyway, I'm Otto, and I'm joined with Jared.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And then we got Victor Charlie here.
Victor Charlie. How you doing?
VC.
Good to see everybody.
I get it now.
We're all VC now.
I get it now. Yeah. Viet Cong.
The foreign adversary, James Babb.
Great to be with you.
And our favorite person being investigated by the FBI, Brian Kunkoski, the second.
Thanks for having me, guys. We're all under investigation. I just got the knock on the door.
Yes.
Right.
That's we're going right into it, man. That's this is why we had you on. You know,
Did you invite them in for coffee?
No, they did not come to my house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Brian's already better than Kyle.
Yeah.
To start with, but yeah, so he sent us a message. Actually, it was Alex gave me the hot call. He's like, "Did Brian text you?" I'm like, "No," and that's when he regaled me with the story that you later went on to tell all of us in our little group chat. But so you had some interesting visitors from the local alphabet agency. Why don't you tell us what happened?
Yeah, so I had just gotten home from work. I was home for like, I don't know, not even 10 minutes. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm trying to deal with something else. We were having issues with the mechanic for my wife's car. So I'm already like pissed off, right? And then I hear this rap on the door. And it was like a distinct rap. Like this is not like somebody trying to sell me like internet services or Windows or something.
It's not DoorDash.
No.
Oh, and it's funny that you say
Your
that
local
because
Girl
we've
Scout.
seen video. Spoiler alert, there's video of this, and you played it back for us, and it's the exact knock I heard in my head is what I was imagining what the knock would sound like.
Yeah, it's like it's really distinct. It's like slow but like firm. Slow and firm, I guess you could say.
Like my
And-
sex life.
That's how we like it.
Yeah, but I was not aroused for this one. So I heard it, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I know what this is. Even though like
Okay,
there's
what
no-
was it?
I turned the corner and there was a poorly dressed gentleman with two other gentlemen with a like one of them fake leather binders in his hand. I'm like, yep, this is the feds. So I like just opened the storm door just enough to like squeak out so they wouldn't like grab it or something like that. And then he showed me his badge and was like, I'm so and so. I can't remember his name. I'm so and so at the FBI, and we want to ask you some questions. And my first thought was just to tell him to get off the property. But I was like, how bad can these tweets like be that, I can explain them. So I did.
It seemed like a good idea to talk to cops. And that's how I got where I am.
So yeah,
I thought I could talk to cops. Why?
talk to federal agents. So yeah, they were out of the Baltimore branch, and with the domestic terrorism unit, and they like the videos that you've seen. They had, like 10 of my tweets printed out on paper, and they were just going through, asking me questions.
Which were the dankest ones? I mean, was this were they some good tweets at least, or?
Yeah, they were good, and it wasn't like they could be read, like if you're looking to incriminate somebody, it could be read that it could be calling for violence. Like it could be. I don't argue that. But it could also be argued that it's just talking about non-compliance. Right.
But you don't can you read any of those to us, or do you remember any of the ones? That were on
I tried looking there, dude. They were from like 2 years ago. Some of them 2.5 years ago. Some of them were retweets. They weren't even stuff that I
during
wrote.
COVID times.
Yeah, it was during COVID times.
You saw the printout, but you didn't get a copy of it or anything.
No, they didn't give me a copy. No.
You didn't take out your cell phone and snap it.
They're still there. If you go to the Suburban Agorist, my at Suburban Agorist on Twitter, you can probably just scroll through and you can probably, I don't know. It was like a Pepe meme. It was a Duncan Lemp meme. It was a couple of original tweets, a couple of retweets.
Thousands of good morning Pepes.
I know it's all Alex's tweets.
and it like it wasn't really anything like crazy. And like I was looking at Twitter before we got on, and I'm like, well, like if this is going based off of my experience, you're now under federal investigation. You're now under federal investigation. Like anything that could be misconstrued as either violence or like non-compliance with like
a boogaloo flag, for instance, in your background, or
yeah, exactly.
Just hypothetically.
Hypothetically, not actually. But it could be anything that could be misconstrued as like violence or like the Duncan Lemp thing. Like they asked me about Duncan Lemp, and like I
so how did they say that? So tell us about this Duncan Lemp.
So
like, you're cool with us murdering your friends, right?
Right. So it was like,
oh yeah, totally.
How did they go about that?
It was like a meme. It was like like the super based like filter you put on pictures for like cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a soldier like in like the forest, right? And it said, we are Duncan Lemp, like remember his name or something like that. Like that's all it said. And he was like, what can you tell us about Duncan Lemp? And honestly, like I don't see Duncan Lemp as a martyr. Like
what can you tell me, motherfucker? You're like,
right? You tell me.
Yeah,
where's the body cam?
Murdered him. What do I know? I'm just a shit poster on Twitter. I mean, come on.
I went full like autistic mode with it and was like just talking about the facts of the case because I don't see him like as a martyr. Like I don't. So I was like, well, I know that like it's still open investigation, what happened that night and stuff like that. And then he was like, so some people like see him as a martyr. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't. Like they were trying to like entrap me in that. And then like went way too autistic with it. And I was like, no, this is just the facts of the case. And regardless of if he was Boogaloo or 3%er, Libertarian, Republic, it doesn't matter.
Did at any point like the thought like maybe I should have a lawyer here come into your head?
That would have been my first thought. Yeah.
During this interview,
not my first thought,
interrogation on your front porch.
I did, and I did invoke my right to not answer questions. If it felt like something that was explainable, then I would answer it. Because there was a tweet.
This is one problem though. When the feds interview somebody, they don't submit a recording of the interview into evidence. They submit a report of the conversation. So once you engage in a conversation, they can really put anything in the report. Yeah. Oh, he was hostile. He said this. He said that. You never get to challenge that, and you'll never get a chance to dispute it.
Well, he's all on video. He's all on video, though. He's got a video up.
I did record.
You know what? There's a good chance the jury won't be allowed to see that.
That's true. They pull some shit.
The way that it's like
inadmissible for security
being
purposes.
innocent is the least, is not going to help you when they're coming after you. So just to, anyway, but continue with the story.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't answer everything. I did answer because I do see myself as a normal person, right? I have a house, I have a wife, I have a kid, and I work for a company that isn't just like some like sketchy company or anything like that. Like I work for a reputable company. Like
you don't work
I have a history of being, a good, citizen is pretty much what it is. And they actually brought that up. They're saying, well, the fact that you have a wife and kid and you own your home and you have like the job that you have, they were like,
they threatened your family.
You're not an incel.
That's what it sounds like to me. To me, that sounds like, oh, you got a mighty nice family here, don't you?
Yeah.
For something to happen to them.
Right. It would be a shame if you lost your job over this and stuff like that. And they're like, that's the reason that we're not coming in here with a warrant or, busting down your door and stuff like that.
I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
We just had to come here and fish and see if we could get you to confess.
It's not the fact that we have zero evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not also looking for our evidence
people. Yeah, we're also looking for autistic people to give weapons to.
Right. They're like, how can we kill this guy?
They're like, hey, here's
this gun. I need you to this guy's not unhinged enough for our program.
Right, and they got the gist that I wasn't like a super autistic weirdo loner incel, whatever the
not
word
easily
is
manipulable.
Now. Right,
manipulable.
And they did have some like besides like the tweets. I have I don't know if you can see it here. It's a NSF tattoo. So I used to be a chef, And I was like 22, and I was like, oh, I think it'd be funny if I get a National Sanitation Foundation tattoo on me because all my kitchen equipment does, right? So like I had a short sleeve shirt on, and they were like, what's that tattoo mean? And I'm like, National Sanitation Foundation.
Don't worry, it's Azov Battalion.
It's the good Nazis, the ones you guys pay for.
They said, well, it means something different to us, and I haven't even bothered to look into it. I have no idea what
NSF. Let's look
I
it
don't
up.
know what
Let's look
NSF.
I'm looking it up right now.
As far as like
keep telling your story,
would go. And they know that they know everything about me. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they knew my shoe size.
Because you told them.
Well, they told me. I was asking them questions too. I'm like, so what do you all know? Like, do you know where I work? Yeah. Do you know what I do at work? Yeah. They didn't like the fact that I was
National
aerospace.
Science Foundation is probably what they thought it meant.
Non-sufficient funds.
So, they didn't like the fact that I was an aerospace welder. They're like, well, you have a particular skill set that would allow you to, manufacture things that, that would be, illegal, or I can't remember the wording.
Do some welding on a said bulldozer.
Right. Yeah. So they didn't like the fact that I was an aerospace welder. So, Alex, that's that's a check mark against you. You have a skill.
Like I got a whole goddamn I went to a trade college for machining for 20 years, and I'm a welder. Yeah, and I got a whole goddamn.
That's a flag.
Fuck you. Like
you're a threat.
Well, look,
also uses the word based, red pilled,
Pepe plus welding acumen plus boogaloo
and
flag.
And you said incel earlier. That's got to trigger some type of algorithm.
So yeah, I mean, like on paper, I would fit the bill for, somebody that would raise flags, right? I'm not scared to say what I want because it's my First Amendment right. I have these abilities that other people don't have, like, even though I don't think it's that big of a deal. But it kind of confirms my suspicion that I've had for years is that they don't want people being machinists and welders anymore because you can make things that they don't want you to make, which was, verified by this interview. And then the worst part about it to me though, of all of it was, and I still like feel creeped out by it, but like, when people get their houses robbed, they're like, it's not that we got our stuff stolen, it's that we got like violated, like our privacy was violated.
Yeah. Strangers are in your house,
right? And that's how I feel. Like they're not just in my house, they're in my computer, they're on my phone. Like they know everything about me.
Did they print out any texts?
No text. They like brought up like Signal groups and stuff like that.
Oh fuck.
Oh shit.
Wait, really?
But I don't know. I didn't
like. Can you tell us about this Jared fellow?
Right. So like, there was groups I was in before that I'm not in now. Just because I don't care anymore.
So like 100 people in there, and maybe one of them was a Fed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever talk about doing this or committing any violence in these Signal
I guess
groups?
I'm in a group with the Fed because I'm in the Pennsylvania group with Ed Regan. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hanging around with libertarians for a couple decades, so basically that's
well, I mean,
always comes up eventually. Like
frankly, you're probably all under federal investigation to an extent. Whether it comes to the point where they want to knock on your door or not, that's up to them. But I mean, if you say anything, right? We saw what the new keywords are that they're considering as right wing extremists or whatever. Chad based, red pilled, all that shit that we all always say pretty much. And that's enough to flag them, right? If your shit, now that they don't have the backdoor to Twitter, allegedly, they can just, if your shit's public, they can just search those keywords and find you. And then they can start building a profile on you. And if they have enough suspicion on you, then they can get your IP address and get everything that's come through your IP address, like your home Wi-Fi, and then they can get your phone. They can go through everything that you sent from your phone. Signal, I'm not sure. And from what they were saying, it doesn't seem like they can actually read, like they can just intercept the messages in Signal. I think they have to infiltrate a group because they talked about a group. They didn't talk about like specific, like singular, like person to person, like messages or anything like that. So I do feel safe using Signal still, like as far as they say it's end-to-end encryption, whatever. I'm not a tech guy, but everybody says signals.
But they may see that who you're having a conversation with, just not
They
necessarily the
could.
conversation.
What you're saying, right? So that's still like the weirdest part to me is that I just feel violated, right? That I thought I did have some semblance of privacy in this country. I don't know why I did, knowing, what we know with everything with the feds. So that's the worst part of it, honestly. Like, it's not that they came to the door or that I'm still like under like investigation or I'm been labeled a domestic extremist. It's just that they violated my privacy to such an extent that I don't even know of, right? And here I am like wondering like, okay, like, are they listening? Like when I call my dad to like ask him a question about fucking, house stuff or something like that. Are they listening to that too? So it's a very surreal experience. I would not recommend it for anybody if you can avoid it. But yeah, it was just like, it's like really, like there's mass shooters every day, not every day, but there's mass shooters all over Baltimore City. There's shootings every goddamn day, and you're worried about me,
right?
Somebody that goes to work every day. Like I begrudgingly, pay my taxes and shit. Like I'm an upstanding citizen for the most part. Like I just bitch about it, but I don't want to go to federal prison, so I do the things I got to do. And
I just want to repeat though that if even if it's Agent Scully herself, when the feds knock on your door, it's okay not to answer. You know what I mean? Or to answer and remain silent. Like
it is.
I really don't want people to get the idea that they should be engaging in conversations, because this could become commonplace all the time. This could be happening more and more and more. Who knows who else is going to get exactly this kind of investigative knock, right? It's definitely the time to say, like, sorry, I don't answer questions. My lawyers advised me to only talk to police in the presence of a lawyer. I'm sure you understand. And just leave it at that. Like don't and close the door. Like have them communicate with you like a normal person. Like
James, you are 100% right. You're 100% right, and it's the most solid advice. Is just you did great. You didn't let them in. I mean, it's great because that's when they go snooping. You don't let them go in. But at the same time, though, I'm so curious as a person. I'd be like, what do they have on me? I got to know so I can go to the podcast and tell these guys like, what shit got the feds, pissed off. Like
but remember they're trained. They're trained to generate like an escalation. Okay, you are not trained. Right, we're normal people.
Oh, I'm trained.
We want content for a podcast, right?
And I mean, right? Ostensibly, you could get that whatever the report they have on you via a FOIA, right? FOIA request.
Technically, right now, not right now, because the investigation is still technically open.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
They won't tell you. They won't tell you when the investigation is closed, either until it's closed and you keep submitting FOIA requests and paying the
or you're
money,
dead,
or I'm in federal prison. So, So like, yes, that's an option, and I've thought about it, but I'm going to give it some time. Like, they're not just going to tell me that, oh,
you're in the clear.
You're in the clear. You're good. You're good to go.
So have you heard from them since then, or no?
Knock on wood, no. They did ask if I'd be willing to come into the office to do a polygraph test.
What? Explain this to me, because you said this. I'm like, polygraph on what? Like, what do you?
Yeah, like, are you based?
Yeah, like I don't know the charge.
No, I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know what they want to ask me, because it's, it would have to be either a yes or no question kind of thing. And then, like,
and guess what? They get the results and you don't. Who's that going to help?
And, I mean, and it's, they've proven that polygraphs are bullshit anyway. So,
100%.
It's the polygraph thing, it's a matter of, if it does happen, if they do ask me to come in and be like, okay, I want a lawyer present. And
but what questions are, like, what do they say? We need to determine what, like, what do they need to determine that needs your attention?
In your conversation with them, you probably gave them all kinds of ideas, right?
Oh,
like, if you don't have the conversation, their ideas are limited. Their avenues of attack are limited. There's no report. Their report says would not talk to us, right? Like, that's the kind of report that, like, instead they can actually just make up anything they want you to have said in that meeting. It really doesn't matter what you say when you have the meeting, you're basically allowing them to just write out what you said. And then hope that the jury's going to take your word for it over these federal agents. Good luck.
Or they could pull like to I think Jared or Otto said it earlier, like they could make it not admissible in court. Like, oh well, we can't show that video that you have because that would reveal our interrogation tactics.
Well, they'll just say, "Oh, that's
the jury
that's
classified," or this,
they just come up with any bullshit
or leave
reason.
it out of the report, like that's not admissible in court.
It's doctored, or it's AI.
Yeah,
Yeah, or it's Russian disinformation, guys. That's all the hallmarks of Russian.
Straight out of Putin's playbook.
Well, I'm glad they didn't decide to escalate further. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look.
At least they didn't shoot your dog, man.
Oh my god!
Seriously, because I heard your dog in the background.
Yeah, as soon as I heard your dog barking, I was like, "Oh my god, please tell me."
I was so worried about.
Let's face it, every dog in the neighborhood was put in jeopardy by this encounter. Right? Like,
exactly.
And your 17 chickens.
Like, yeah, you're right. I was talking. I was out front talking to him, and you got my two roosters in the back, just crowing their heads off the whole time.
They could sense the feds.
They
animal scout.
Yeah. I wish my chickens would have came out, but you know. For what it's worth, right? Because I am a normal person. Like these guys, they were exactly how you think feds would be, right? Like,
yeah, they did. They look just like it.
They weren't like
had the video. Do we get to watch the video?
I can send it to you. I don't want to play it on the airwaves, but
okay.
No,
I can send it to you.
The after hours.
Yeah, we'll do the after hours.
Yeah, after hours. You got to pay up.
Yeah, this is a great time to remind you guys that our official Fed level is up on the Patreon for as little as $1,000 a month. We'll give you all of our secrets. I'll let you in my house.
Tell you all the dastardly deeds we're doing, all of our plans, all the taxes.
Show you all the illegal things.
Right. 3D. That's the first thing Otto said to me. Is like, did you tell him about the Fed level on the Patreon?
Currencies. I mean, well, you know,
hey man, you gotta move in this business. You know, you gotta.
Hey, we're a capitalist society still.
Yeah, we got a grift off this.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, look, they were, I guess, as nice as you could expect, a FBI agent to be. I never raised my voice or anything. They never said anything that angered me, right? They weren't trying to like escalate to the point of like an emotional response. They were trying to like pry information that like didn't exist, right? They were just trying
to asked to come in your house too.
They did twice. They asked to come in twice, in the beginning and towards the end of the interview. They asked to come in, and I told them no both times. My son was home. Like, no, you're not coming in my house.
Right.
No. This is enough. Like all the windows, it was a nice day, so all the windows were open. Like the front door was open. It was just the storm door behind me. So it's like, look, this is it, right? You saw, the Libertarian, the Mises sticker, and the Defend the Guard sticker on the back of my truck. Like you see it. This is it. You hear my chickens in the background. Like, dude,
this is what we train for, man.
Right. Take out my chickens and
Mises caucus.
We got him. We got him.
So for what it was, it could have been worse, I'd imagine, right? I could have either escalated it in a way, or they could have escalated it in a way that like got me pissed off. But I was level-headed the entire time. They were level-headed the entire time. And I even told them like, hey, like drive safe, right? Like I was, because they had to go back to Baltimore. I assume I was like, drive safe. Like I wasn't going to be like a nasty person to these people, right? And
even though
it's not my like, that's not my personality. Like I'll be a dick if you're a dick, but they were at least
they were talking about your family.
They were.
I call that being a dick. Okay?
It is, but
being there on your porch is being a dick. First of all, do any of your friends just come over, or don't most people at least send you a text first? Showing up without an invitation is being a dick.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, they were waiting for me to get home. They were parked on a side street, 2 doors down.
Yeah, we call that stalking. That's called stalking.
So
that's like, also not cool.
And it's like, okay, do I give these guys a hard time and give them more of a reason to pry in, or do I like just be my nice guy self and
leave?
Cooperate?
Should have never pulled into your driveway. Did you see them as you were coming in?
No, I didn't. They made sure I couldn't see them. They're waiting for me to get home because
like an ambush.
They knew your schedule.
They knew my schedule.
Like,
because I use Google
You were
Maps.
on their radar.
Yeah, I use literally on their radar. I use
Literally.
Google Maps, so I got rid of Google Maps. I'm if nothing else, hopefully nothing comes of this. But if there is a learning experience to be taken from this, right? We don't have First Amendment rights anymore. We don't have Second Amendment rights anymore, and quite frankly, we don't have Fifth Amendment rights anymore because they can ask me to come in for more questions. They can ask me. I can say no, and then they can subpoena me or give me a indict me or something like that. So, there is no privacy anymore, and you have to accept that. And I learned it the hard way. And I just hope that that's why I'm telling people, right? You guys know me, Otto, Alex, Jared, you guys know me. I'm a fucking normal guy. And I've been telling everybody, just like my normie friends, like, dude, I got visited by the FBI. So like, if this is happening to me, like, imagine like what they're doing to like the J6 people. You know what I mean? Imagine what they're doing to any dissenting voice.
I wonder if part of this is they go to you and they try to scare you and then expect that, you're going to scare us, right?
That's exactly
you're going to share it with us and we're going to be like, oh, let me tamp down what I'm saying on,
and I'll be honest,
Twitter
it scared me, right?
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
I'm a little scared right now.
You don't want to go to prison.
No. And, like I've been seeing stuff on Twitter that I would normally like, but like, it's like, maybe I won't like it this time. But if nothing else, this has been a reminder that like Twitter is not a real place, and like go out
and honeypot.
Go out and fucking touch grass. Take your shoes off and walk through the grass.
Right.
Go outside. And play
There's no fence in the trees, baby.
Right. Yeah. Go.
Or maybe.
Maybe. I like my camera system is like the Blink system, so it's Amazon. So I'm sure they fucking hack that shit. And they can watch it anytime.
Right. They're probably watching themselves.
They've got an app probably they just use to get access.
Exactly. So, it's a more of a reason to get the fuck out of Maryland, honestly. I mean, me and my wife were talking about it, like, let's just move somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And if the feds do come to the house again, then we'll see them coming down the fucking driveway.
Yeah, but then they'll shoot your wife while she's holding your baby in your hands.
You're not safe anywhere. You're not safe.
They will not fucking leave you alone. That's the other thing too. It's like
you got to go live in like Belize,
Even then,
that's okay.
They'll invade. They'll find some reason to invade.
I'm not going to say what country we're talking about moving to, but we are talking about moving to another country.
Say that for the Fed level and the
we got to say that for the Fed level.
The feds.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean that's the gist of it. We can go a little bit deeper into the after hours just because.
You handle it like a pro, Brian. I mean, when you called me and then later on the encounter, and you handled it really well, man. And like Goodfellas, like never ratted on your friends, never, just like. And
you were the first.
My memes are dank. You should check out my friend Alex Schlegel. Alex, his handle is Alexand4607989887.
Yeah, we do boogaloo stuff together. He's super cool.
Yeah,
we trade hibiscus
something
flowers.
about 3D printers or
he's on. I'm in this Discord group with him. It's so cool.
Right.
But
he's got all these classified documents. He's going to leak on Discord. Talk to him
for clout.
He was an Air Force veteran.
Yeah, and Alex, you were actually the first person I called. I was like, I got to tell somebody. You were the first person that I could think of, just because, like, you're always talking about the feds, and like you're like the first person to come to mind. I'm like, I'm telling Alex, and luckily I have your actual phone number, so I just call. I don't know. I don't even know what's safe. I don't know if talking on the phone is safe or going through signals.
It's safe to assume that everything you say or do near a microphone, even like when you're not on a cell phone, anything is being recorded.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And will be presented to the jury. At some point, it's going to be presented to the jury.
I know everything I said. Every time you're on the sitting on the shitter, looking at your phone, they see you picking your nose. They see you, like jerking off. They see everything. They see it all.
I mean, have you ever?
I even watched this podcast.
Yeah, I noticed it a lot when I call on the like the few phone calls I make. Like the the call will not drop out, but you get all of a sudden you hear like a static in the background, and it gets like you get interruptions, and I'm like, fucking feds are listening. I'll straight up tell whoever I'm on the phone with, whether it be my mom or girlfriend or my dad, hey, I can't hear you. Let me call you back. The feds are probably listening, because it's like, fuck them,
So like clicking sounds and
like I've noticed that a lot too. When you say certain things and it's like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
Right.
I have normie family members. NSA is like a stone's throw away from where I'm
that
at
too. We're like,
and I have family that work there at the NSA, and they've told me, like, yeah, if your phone ever starts getting warm for no reason, you're not running anything, you just feel it getting really warm in your pocket. She said someone's accessing your phone.
Oh, I continually have to upgrade my phone just to be compatible with their software. Right? There's like because I don't have any processing cycles left for myself if unless I have the latest greatest phone.
But I actually, that's funny you say that. Well, first off, they brought up a podcast that I was on, and this was after the campaign started. So it wasn't even it was just campaign related, right? And they brought it up. I don't know which one, because I did a handful of them, but they watch podcasts too. They sit there and watch podcasts. So
not ours, assholes.
They're just not.
Oh, is that the three watchers that we have? They're all federal agents?
NSA, FBI, CIA, and now the National Science Foundation is going to be monitoring it.
But shit, what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's a crazy violation of policy. Oh, my phone has been acting weird since that encounter last week.
Oh wow.
Time to get a burner, man.
Yeah, every time I'd open Signal, when you like open Signal, if you like close out the app, like the little Signal like bubble pops up, like it loads. It kept doing that every time I would open it. Twitter like has been like very like just weird, like not things not working, just things that I've noticed that like aren't right. Like the contrast of like the background of like the feed has been like flickering like to like different shades, like shit I've never seen before. It could be my phone just taking a shit, but I really don't think it is. Like things have just been not right since that encounter. So yeah, I'm confident. You talk to people and stuff, and you joke around about something, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go, let me chuck my phone on the couch and walk in the other room while we talk about. Like, no, that's legit. Like, that is very much legit.
Exactly, and that's why I've always been a critic, going as far back as I can remember when I first started hearing about these Amazon Home or Google, like things that you put in your stupid house, and I'm like, this is designed. I was like, this is designed to hear all the conversation that they can't hear. We know how you get a pocket dial and it sounds like, muffled and everything. This is to go, around that so they can hear you from across your house. And I tell people, like, don't do that. Don't buy that shit. I always make sure they're unplugged whenever I go to like my brother's house. He's got his on. I just go and unplug it.
Yeah, we got a wiretap, Amazon wiretap as a like a home when we bought our house as a gift, and me and my wife were like, fuck this thing, we are not using this thing, and we just gave it to like our parents, or I can't remember what we did with it.
You re-gifted the spy device.
Yeah,
well, one thing you can do if you're at like a relative's house or something, and you think they've got Amazon or that thing listening, Alexa, just say, Alexa, order a case of champagne. Like just start giving it orders until they have to turn it off, right?
But yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of my interaction. In the after hours, I'll go a little bit more in depth with some things, but that's pretty much it. And I've seen plenty of videos of people that have that visit, and some kind of react how I did. I actually saw a video of some dude actually let him in the house. I have other videos.
Don't pull a Kyle.
Kyle. Yeah, he's watching that. Kyle.
Did Kyle really get visited by the FBI?
Yes,
he did.
Yes.
Yeah,
and he invited him in and gave him coffee and cookies and stuff.
Oh man.
And it wasn't even tainted with anthrax.
Oh, all right, Babs, come on, man. I'm trying to not get my door busted down.
Wait, Brian, you were just telling us that all the anthrax you took from work. Come on, man.
Do you work at Fort Detrick?
Feds.
Yeah, I don't work at Fort Detrick. Never served for the U.S. Army.
Hey, gotta go visit my coworkers. It was just a Christmas party.
Yeah.
God bless. Oh, this is funny.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you gotta when you get a situation like this, like you gotta make it fun or something like that, or else you end up like that meme where it's like the guy and his hair's all crazy and shit like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to have a heart attack over this shit because it's not worth it. I got a fan.
Yeah, my guess is they're probably not going to follow up. I mean, they're probably just went there to scare you, and then you'll tell your friends, and they'll get scared, and right because a culture of fear is how they maintain their power.
They asked you. They were fishing to find out if they could escalate.
Yeah. And Alex brought up a really good point when I was talking to him afterwards. He was like, and I think he's like 100% right, is that now that they don't have the backdoor access to Twitter, I think they have the information that they're going to be able to get from these private like profiles. And if they can't get any more information on it, then they're trying to close the case or close the investigation. And I think, I'm hoping that that's just part of it. Like, okay, the last thing they brought up to me was from 10 months ago. And frankly, I think I've had one tweet on that profile from, between now and 10 months ago. So they're like, okay, the guy's not using it anymore and we don't have the backdoor access. So let's just go talk to this guy, see if we can close up this investigation or either pursue it further and then, kind of move on because they're not getting that, Fed level backdoor Twitter access anymore. So,
that's why we offer the level on Patreon. That's what we're here for.
That's right.
Somebody's got to pay for the lawyer retainer fees.
Right.
Because they're expensive.
We need to start a fund.
We should have an ongoing fund for anybody that needs federal criminal defense lawyers.
Yeah,
because
you said it was very expensive, right?
Very, very expensive. Much more money than I have sitting in my bank account. That's for sure.
Damn.
Right, man. And it sucks. Like, but I knew immediately like how you felt just because I know how I felt, like just from your experience. Like I felt like violated for you. Like I was stewing in my house, like, oh
dude, I feel violated when a cop like drives behind me on the road.
Yeah.
Like
I don't even want to see them in my neighborhood
for no reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the worst part. All in all, is that I feel violated. I don't know what information. I mean, I'm sure they do. What information they have my wife, what they know about my kid, what they know about other family members and shit like that. Like it's just we joke about it and we talk about it and for me, half the time I was just joking about like what the feds can actually do. But now I know, right? And it's none of it's a joke. It's all legit. Everything we always joke about, like they know. So yeah, that's the worst part. All in all, it's that the violation of privacy.
Honey, was that the ice maker or government spy?
We're both.
That was a good one, Paul. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was both. Oh, that's fucked up, man. It was. I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks like, yeah, you're the one who talks most about like probably the Boog stuff besides Alex. I was like,
what?
You
throw me into this.
Alex, let me ask you.
Boogaloo.
Alex, you wouldn't have talked to them, would you?
I mean, that's the thing. I commend how Brian handled it because
have we not learned anything on this show? If not,
all of Reading would have come out of Alex into some poor guy's face.
I mean, I don't know what I would have done, so I commend Brian the way he handled it but yeah, I would have.
It's right. It's hard to say until you're in that situation. And I always like to think
this is why for our listeners and everyone else, like in our community, this is a real threat, right? It's not like it. I mean, it can happen more often, especially as the way things are going. Be ready for that. Expect it to happen. Rehearse in your head how you're going to say it. So when the time comes, you're going to be under stress. You're going to be freaking out. It's going to be adrenaline, right? But if you've thought about it in advance under a level head, you'll be more prepared for that encounter.
Yeah. And I did that. I was like, well, if they don't have a warrant, I'm not going to say anything. But then you got 3 federal agents standing in front of you, and you're like, well,
they're trained to intimidate.
They are,
and manipulate.
Yeah,
and to trick you into feeling like, oh, we're just going to clear a few things up with these nice guys. They'll totally see that I'm a nice guy, and we'll all be on our way. let me just clear this up. You know how many people have gone to jail on that script? It's wrong.
We'll save that for the after hours, but I noticed some things in the video in the ring camera when they were approaching, and one of my coworkers, we were looking at it, he's like, he got a little sloppy there, look. And so we were replaying it back and forth, and they're sloppy. And it's also like, yeah, it's scary, but then you see these fucking goofs and they're like, all right, we'll say that for the after hours, but it was pretty rookie mistakes. Like, we're not dealing with like really
they didn't send their best.
Exactly, Jared. So we'll talk about that more in the after hours. But yeah.
You know what?
At least they're still thinking of you, Brian. They didn't send their top guys, but they at least thought of you.
It's a thought that counts.
Yeah.
Hey, right. You know what? If a Fed ever comes on my door, I'm just gonna give him the Buffalo Bill treatment and just be like, "Oh, she's a great big fat person." Just straight up.
I'm that great. I'm that great big fat person. Oh,
right.
Okay.
It's like, sir, we're here to talk about your Twitter. just start talking like Buffalo Bill to him.
All right, so you're gonna have to come down with
the scenes from the what is that? Silence of the Lambs, Adam.
Do you think this was all, over 10 months ago. So this is pre-Elon Twitter. Mm-hmm. But what about the Mises Caucus got their Twitter taken down.
Did you hear about the update?
And yeah, so I have it in there if you could share that, Jared, it shows the tweet, and it was for the appeal, but they were sharing those classified documents that were supposedly leaked by that National Guardsman. And this is what spawned Twitter to pull the Mises Caucus's account or lock them out for the past 2 weeks now. Because I shared it, and then I went back to that tweet and it was removed. So this is, we've been tagging Elon all week, like, review this. So, yeah, I don't know. Is Twitter going back to the bullshit? Like, who knows? But this was.
Thank you, Force Mommy,
for
signing up for Patreon.
Nice.
And then followed up by plant-based says, "Holy shit, you guys finally do have a Fed level tier."
Yeah, I wasn't joking, man.
Yeah,
I just shared it.
Yeah, so, but no. So what you talked about, the first thing that got them banned was they reshared a video of this.
Yep.
This
it was a shooting in New York.
Yeah, it was like an execution on the streets. And then as soon as they okay, well, we got to delete this. Like, we'll just go ahead. Who cares? Whatever. We'll delete that. And then it was just like, nope. Oh, yeah. There was also this other one we weren't talking about. It was this. And it's like, what? How did you get hit for two things in a row? And it was almost like it was like a false one. Like, one was there to shield from the other one. And it sounds so sketch.
And
apparently you can't share leaked documents and whatever. Unless it's to help the state, then they're all for it.
Right. And to that video, did you guys see this press conference? I mean, where the press is more concerned about the leaker and not the contents of what was released. Not a single journalist. I mean, it's pathetic. I think I have it in there, Jared. It's let me pull it up. But did you guys see that? Oh no.
Got him.
Oh no. Oh no.
No.
It's either that or he went to grab another beer. Who knows? We don't know.
One or the other. Survive.
What are we looking for? Did you share it?
It's in
McWilliams? McWilliams thing?
No. That was it's a press conference down at the bottom. Sorry, man, I can't find it.
Oh, here we go. I see it.
Yeah. But this was, so this is leaked, and it seems like anybody sharing that, their accounts were fucked with. They pulled it, and the press has been silent about it, and they're more concerned about this leaker. And it seems sus, and we'll talk about that. But listen to this. Listen to this.
Okay,
press
in
conference.
the days after the leaks came to light, what steps has DoD taken to reduce the number of people who have access to not only these classified briefings, but the classified material in general? But you are taking steps to tighten.
What are you going to do to make sure that the public never learns the truth?
Have access to this level of information.
General Ryder, you say that there are strict protocols in place, and yet a 21-year-old airman was able to access some of the nation's top secrets. How did this happen? And isn't this a massive security breach? What is your message to anyone who might be thinking of?
Is
leaking
anyone
these
going to
kind of
ask him
documents in
about the
future?
nature of like, oh, and what about
you
all
tell
those
us
lies you've been telling
Where
that
are
were
there less
exposed in those
people
leaks?
who have access to this type of information today than there were a week ago?
To follow on that, these
I like
documents
the look
were
on his face
available.
every time he gets.
So they're
one
just
of these
asking
questions.
him about the documents rather than
Yep.
like, or they're asking him
Yeah.
how they were leaked rather than like
and
what
what
was
are they
in the
doing to
contents
prevent
of them.
further leaks?
No,
Right.
they don't even care how it was leaked. They just want to make sure like this will never happen again, will it? And like, aren't you embarrassed that the public found out that you guys were lying? You must be so ashamed.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to never get caught again?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty disturbing, and you know, I think with and then Brian McWilliams came up with a theory, and I was thinking this too, and you know, all this is coming out during as they're trying to push the Restrict Act and trying to, you know, infiltrate social. It's like another Patriot Act 2.0, and you know, it's any wonder this leaker leaks it through Discord, private chats. So it's like this is how they're gonna get in, and more regulation, like another Patriot Act where they're, you know, so who knows? Is Twitter playing ball now, or is this all? I don't know. Are we going to see another social media crackdown on anything? You know, I don't know. It's pretty scary what's going on. All in conjunction with Alphabet Boy showing up at Brian's house directly. So I don't know. What do you
Carrying
guys
the
think?
coal mine, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think the establishment, I think is scared. Honestly,
100%.
They're terrified, right? Because the narrative keeps getting proven wrong, like just factually wrong. And
yeah, but most people, I don't think most people even know that though. I mean, I still see people wearing masks. You know, I'm like, they've got blue and yellow flags and shit still. Like people still think that Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11. Okay, like, I mean, there's the propaganda is so thick that, you know, honestly, I don't know. You know, how long has it been since these Twitter files came out? Do you think, you know, if you like just talk to a random person at the gym, hey, what do you know about the Twitter files? Are they going to even heard it's a story? What do you think?
In my area, yes.
Oh yeah, everyone's still wearing masks. Everyone is still fucking freaked out and shit. And then that memo that just got dropped, that Medicaid or whatever was paying providers $250 to get every vaccine they gave away or something like that. Did you guys
straight up bribing, straight up bribes?
Massey.
Yeah, Massey shared that. That's right. Yeah, man, straight up bribery.
But I don't see anybody. I don't see like people on the street. I don't see people being like, holy shit, I've been manipulated by the vaccine industry. Fuck. No, they're not saying that. So I don't know. Let's, you know, maybe we'll just keep chipping at the narrative. And I mean, I think it is getting harder and harder. I mean, when the number, like their mouthpieces like the Washington Post and New York Times humiliated over this leak. All right. And the way they handled it, Glenn Greenwald, he dressed these guys down for an hour-long rant.
Yeah, you had a clip, didn't you, Babs? I didn't see this.
Let me see if I'll post it. But he's the best critic of the what counts for journalism these days. I mean, he just crucified him. But basically, the Washington Post and the New York Times teamed up, and both were involved in helping figure out who the leaker was and snitching on them to the government. So instead of having the role of like, you know, spreading the truth where you need leaks, they just said, we're not even going to pretend anymore. And we're now on the side of catching leakers and making sure this never happens again.
Right. Like you figure they'd at least be curious to see what's in those documents. You figure if
no.
Journalistic
we're not
integrity,
supposed to. We're not. They said there's no reason for me to know. I can't know that.
No, this is top secret. We don't need to know exactly how many Ukrainians and Russians have been killed in this. We don't exactly want to know. Like
if they had a mind wiper,
World War III might be kicking off any day now.
If they had that like mind wiper from Men in Black, they'd use it on themselves. They'd be like, "Oh no, I can't see that."
Seriously, it was evident in that press conference. But my God, it's
a bunch of disgusting lapdogs. I mean, all it is, I mean, all journalism are people that are just, at the foot of power, begging for a scrap of story to
journos are scum.
Regurgitate. Yes, Forest Mommy is correct.
Yeah, because they're giving her a hard time out there in Colorado running for city council in the town of Arvada, and there's some fucking journo like they're just,
they're giving us business.
We'll have to bring her on soon because
at least you're talking about her.
Scummy. Yeah,
like they are.
Right.
I had one in my campaign. I had one article written about me, and
man, you got to pump those numbers up next go around, Brian.
I know. I got to get some tips from Forest Mommy so I can piss off some local journalists.
Well, start running stories like, like candidate under investigation for FBI. Like that could go nationwide, right? Like,
yeah, all PR is good PR because it all backfires on them. They're so fucking stupid. It's like,
right.
Yeah, they're fucking scum. But anyway,
and the people that you want to vote for you are going to see that it's like an opinion piece or something like that, because that's what mine was. It was an opinion piece, and it was like this fucking stupid bitch. Like, she wrote this. I can't even remember what it was, because I mean,
I'm after running like a forum or something. Or?
Yeah, it was after the one forum that I got invited to, and it was about vehicle re-registration, and I had brought up like, you're driving down the road, look at people's license plates and see how many expired tags you have. And she was like, "Oh, how many accidents has he been in because he's looking at people's license plates?" I'm like, "You stupid bitch! I have 20/20 vision. I don't need to be that fucking close to see their stickers." Right. Like, you idiot! Just shut up.
What a horrible like.
That's the worst thing you can say about me is that I have 20/20 vision. Like, come on.
That's so terrible.
This is just so bad. Oh, and she got in trouble because she forgot to disclose that she, was on Stuart Pittman, the county executive's campaign team, and all these other Democratic. You should contribute to all these Democratic elections and campaigns and shit like that. So she got into like a heap of trouble. Stupid woman.
Further point, they're scum.
Shut up, silly woman.
Silly woman.
Oh no, Jared.
I know. That'll be perfect time.
Damn it. I'm gonna come. I'm just going. I just play the soundboard in my head. Like,
yeah.
Like,
yes, what do you guys think of the leaker? Do you guys want to take that over to the after hours? Because I have theories on it, but I think it's a patsy.
That's what I'm leaning towards. Just simply because of his age. Like, he's
right.
I don't know how the infrastructure of all that works. So I could be completely wrong, but for a 21-year-old to even have access to that kind of information.
Yeah. Well, they focus on the age, but I'm just looking at like his rank, like you said, I guess age factors into that to a point, but he's National Guard. Like, how the fuck, how do you get access to this? Like, some part-time chair force has access to this.
Would you hear about the other National Guards?
But it could be that stupid. I mean, they're not sending their best. So you could have someone that has this high level classification. It's like, he works in IT, so they might be like, "Hey, I can't get my printer to work," and next thing you know, he's printing off like, "Oh shit," So who knows? I don't know. They're not sending their best.
Just love how the narrative was. Like, there's all these like leftists on TikTok and on social media, they make their stupid videos of them with their soy smiles, talking about, "Oh my gosh, he wasn't doing it responsibly. He wasn't leaking responsibly."
Dude, there was fucking libertarians saying that.
Danger.
Dude, there was all the shit libertarians were saying that, like, this guy's not a hero. Snowden did it responsibly, and he went to the press. I'm like, have you seen the press lately? You fucking lowbert.
First of all,
well, he did go to Glenn Greenwald, so that was pretty good.
But anyone who disseminates information is a journalist, and if you guys know your First Amendment auditors, you would know that. So fuck that shit. Like, going to the press. I don't care what.
Are you calling us journalists?
I'm a journalist.
I consider myself a journalist.
Okay, here we are.
I identify as a journalist.
Technically, we've got a lot more
podcast.
Journalistic integrity here than on the editorial board of the New York Times. So, we're not much, but we're still better than those bastards.
Well, that's why
we make half the shit up.
That's why the feds are coming to our house, because we keep being right. We're just right 3 years before everybody else says we are.
All right.
Yeah, no, but it was facts. Like, there was all these fucking lowberts on Twitter this week saying like, this guy's not a hero, or what he did was wrong, and he's like, he could put like, it was blowing my mind. It was,
the American people, they just can't know how bad the war is going.
right.
You know, like that's Russian propaganda to, you know, like to know the truth.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just don't think. I think he's a patsy. I don't foresee, unless it was a total fuck up that he came across a computer like in IT and it's like, oh shit. But I don't know.
Well,
I don't.
Or how about like maybe this kind of thing happens all the time? I don't think it was like super secret information. If a National Guardsman could get it, maybe it was distributed. Maybe his boss, the general, kind of wanted it leaked because he was like, you know,
who knows?
Or
it could
it's
be,
or it's just the kind of shit that gets leaked all the time. I mean, it's not like this, like the military and the National Guard are all hermetically sealed for information flow. So. But then there might have been like, okay, now we need something. What do we got? And they pulled out the latest one and like, well, how about this one? Here, you know, like let's use him for our crackdown on Discord, you know, or whatever it's going to be. Just pull, you know, just grab whatever the current thing is.
Because that's what they're definitely talking about that it happened.
He was trying to impress teenagers, guys. He was saying racist things and he was trying to impress teenagers. Could you imagine being so pathetic? Could you imagine that?
Has anybody seen these so-called racist memes? I mean, I'm almost positive they're not going to be racist.
Hey,
if they
we'll
ever,
just do
if they
what
ever,
the
ever
BBC,
see them.
like the BBC interview with what's his face?
Oh yeah, we got to play that.
Elon, with Elon. Yeah, that's the same shit. It's the same thing. Show me. Give me one example. Give me one. And they can't do it because they don't know. They just got the talking point from their producer. They don't know this shit.
Yeah, they don't have original.
You know, a lot of these things are just repeated.
You want to play the video real quick?
Come true.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here's the video.
Content you don't like or hateful. What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm
we know you're not saying
anything. Content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
That's most of our show.
My feed.
Plus, when do we give a shit about what British people say?
Slightly more.
I mean,
that's what I'm asking for examples.
That too.
Can you name one example?
I honestly don't need. Honestly, I
you can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
said a lot of people are quite similar. I only.
A little too much truth out there for my taste.
You can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
I mean, he just said my feed is littered with
I've been using it
with hateful content, and then he asked him.
Okay, so
and then he asked him. So give me an example. He's like, I haven't looked at that feed in forever. It's like, what?
Do you think he had to personally answer to the King of England after that embarrassing interview?
He must have at some point seen
in between diddling children. He had to give
us one example.
Right.
You can't give a single one.
And I'm saying,
then I say so that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't say
so. Really.
Not even one tweet. And yet you claim the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's a false.
No, what I claimed,
you just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
organizations,
I mean,
like the FBI.
Listen for the organization,
like MI6
Institute in the UK. They will.
Did you hear that?
So
back that up for 5 seconds or 1 second.
Organizations that say that kind of information
Listen to this organization
is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not. I mean, right, and
literally
you can look at something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will. Say
that's a government-funded institution.
Dialogue.
Yeah, that's just a front for the government, basically.
It's like their equivalent of the Southern Poverty Law Center or something.
So look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But let's,
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content.
How about the Cybertruck?
And then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago.
That's what the government told me.
Let's move on.
That's basically the answer.
Let's move on.
Wow. What a fucking.
Let's move on.
Now, I think, see, now this was, my understanding is this was broadcast not just on the BBC, but live on Twitter Spaces, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we're able to see this right now, right? There's no way BBC would have broadcast that, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, how do they let this out into the wild?
Yeah, how did this guy even
Elon was smart enough to say, I'll do the interview, but it also goes out on Twitter Spaces.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
didn't
it's a great way to keep these people accountable, right? Like, and he turned the table on them. And at one point in this interview, he says, the interviewer says, you know, like, oh, I'm not here to answer, you know, I'm not here to be interviewed about, you know, the BBC. And he goes, oh, you think you're not?
Like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
great.
That's
about it for tonight. I think it's about let's take this on over to our after hours. Remember, we're about an hour now. We started a little late, so let's move on over there real quick. But before we go, Brian, just want to thank you so much for coming on and telling us your story and everything. But
yeah, thanks so
you mentioned
much,
you had a podcast. Why don't you tell everyone what it is, what it's called, and where they can find it, and where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on. By the way, kind of getting the story out there because fuck it, why not? We know we can all learn from this experience that I had. But yeah, I have a podcast. We usually go live every Tuesday. Except for the first week of the month. I think we're gonna start doing Fridays. It's called the Free question mark State Podcast.
Free?
So yeah, free. It's actually a play off of the old Libertarian Party of Maryland newsletter, and it was called the Free State newsletter because we, by definition, are the free state, even though we're not free at fucking all. So so yeah, Free State Podcast. We've been focusing on
throwing down the gauntlet to New Hampshire there.
Yeah, it's you know, it's our state saying so. You know, I'm a proud Marylander, even if our government fucking sucks. But so yeah, check us out. We now that the legislation is over, we're gonna change gears a little bit, start talking about some different things, more local things. But yeah, we focus on Maryland. You know, there's a lot of podcasts out there that talk about national issues. And we just focus on Maryland. So we kind of cornered ourselves into that kind of niche kind of market with our podcast, but we're not doing this for any sort of money or anything like that. Or, you know, we just want to get the information out there to where the news stations aren't talking about this shit. Yeah, we're trying to be, you know, as journalistic as we can without, you know, being a bunch of squares pretty much. So yeah, come check us out. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey. Yeah, come check us out. And there's three of us, me, Scott Gearhart, and my buddy Doug. So yeah, come check us out. We have fun, especially last Friday. Go check out the Friday. I just posted it on Spotify and Apple. And I'll be honest, I got pretty drunk by the end of it. So we had a good time. So yeah, come check us out and give us a follow, give us a like. And we just do it for fun, you know?
Hell yeah. Well, I'll have to check that out, and you have to have us on sometime. And
oh, absolutely.
We'll keep having you on too as well. So as long as the feds keep knocking on your door, we'll have you on.
This is what it's taking me to get on PRL. I had to get the feds to knock on my door to get on PRL.
Right. And a good microphone. You got a good microphone now.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, sounds really good.
Thank you.
But all right, so cool. Well, speaking of the After Hours podcast, we're gonna head on over there now. We're gonna send you guys out if you are a subscriber on our Patreon. We'll send you out a link, and you get to listen and interact with us live. So check that out for as little as $3 a month. You guys sign up now, you'll get the link, and you also get the podcast on your podcatcher or wherever afterwards, and you guys get access to our whole back catalog of episodes that we've done. And so like I said, for as little as $3 a month, but we also have that new Fed level tier. Guys, think about it. If you got $1,000 extra a month you want to spend, you want to know all the gruesome details.
You get the whole access. You get the whole show archive, actually sent to you on a hard drive.
I'll show you my butthole, so it's all good. So
I'll send you all my tweets. How about that?
Exactly.
So yeah, go check that out, or go to prlfans.com and find other ways to donate to the show. We also have t-shirts for sale over at libertariancountry.com. If you use the code PRL or PRL podcast, you get a 10% discount. If you spend $50 or more, you'll get a 20% discount if you use the code PRL2. So until next time, live free
or die.